just as a reflection on life as a human during the procreative years. And so just want to say this to all of you who are either pregnant or trying or contemplating whether you're going to try, or going through pregnancy loss, or have just had pregnancy loss. There are so many permutations of all of it. So my little nutshell of a journey is that I started not really trying, but just not using birth control when I was 34, and I was a resident, and I was not in great shape. I was very heavy. I was working crazy hours. I was probably mildly hypertensive, though I didn't check. None of which is good. I'm not advocating for it. I'm just very much acknowledging what happened. And I got pregnant by surprise. By surprise. I know how this works, but by surprise. It was not unwanted. It was just that we weren't yet trying. And I didn't think it would happen that quickly. I had had a long history of endometriosis. And lo and behold, I felt conflicted. Excited, but conflicted. Because I thought we would have more time to prepare. Silly me. We had a lot more time to prepare because that ended up being a miscarriage, as did my next pregnancy, for which I tried oh so hard. Because as any of you know, the minute you have had your appetite whet by the beginning of that little positive pregnancy test, that's all you want, is to be pregnant, even if it wasn't what you thought you knew you wanted. So as the story goes, I had 2 more miscarriages. And then I had my now almost 18-year-old child, whose pregnancy was challenging again. Work, a lot of weight, a little bit of high blood pressure, fairly tumultuous labor and delivery, and some neurological issues that ensued afterwards, followed by 4 more miscarriages, at which point I really thought, this is it. I just want a sibling for my child. I hated being pregnant. I was not one of those beautiful, lean, healthy, happy, I love every feeling. I was one of those really puffy, uncomfortable, back pain, swollen, only enjoyed the baby's movement. And with my first pregnancy, there just wasn't a lot of movement. Labor also kind of sucked for me. So when I finally got pregnant, my 8th pregnancy, what is now my almost 14-year-old child, for which I promptly scheduled a C-section because my first delivery was so challenging for me, only to find out that he had a true clubfoot, which compared to neurological issues really seemed like not a big deal. It took a lot to fix it, but we got it fixed after the delivery. And then I thought I was done. In fact, I was sure I was done. I never wanted to have another baby. I had 8 pregnancies, 2 children. I felt more than lucky that I even got those. And here's how the story goes. At age 40, when I should have known better, I had what I would never call a mistake, but a surprise pregnancy. Again, I know how this works. But let this be a lesson to all you young people that when you say you're being careful, the way Shiva Gofrani was being careful, well, withdrawal, as we know, is only 92% effective at best. And I'm thrilled that that happened. And again, I would never call it a mistake. I would call it a surprise. And I bring all this up because here I am at age almost 52, 9 pregnancies, 3 children, with all the anguish of the challenge of pregnancy. I get sad thinking about it. The challenge of pregnancy loss, the challenge of the conflicting feelings of, did I wish the first one away because I wasn't as excited as I should have been? Was I just being greedy because I actually had the nerve to think twice about that positive pregnancy test? And Lord, I know that that's not true. And I tell every one of you in my office when you're having a pregnancy loss that that's not true. That no one is inflicting you with anything. No one is punishing you with anything, because the person on the other side of all this, if there is a being, would not do that to us. But lo and behold, our bodies are beings, and physical beings that are just flawed. And so these things happen. And it is up to us to find the beauty within the suck. And sometimes the beauty is so minuscule, and sometimes it's so small. But here I am, 9 pregnancies later, 3 children later, feeling old and tired and menopausal, just as I have an only 11-year-old girl, but feeling deeply grateful. And I don't say, again, I thank God. Not because I don't feel thankful to God and I don't feel eternal gratitude to everything in the world, but I do not think God bestowed the angst on me, and I certainly don't think God chose me to be the one that got to have 3 children if he hasn't chosen other incredibly worthy women and humans with ovaries and uteruses to have children as well. So that is not how I think. I merely think I got lucky, and I'm going to keep expressing gratitude about having 3 children. But I'm also going to remind every human and woman that you are not defined by your ability, by your capability, by your desire to birth. Should you choose to birth, it can be amazing and wonderful and shitty and horrible all in one. And should you choose not to birth, or should, for whatever reason, your body not allow you to birth, despite all of the ways that we have now with using someone's egg, using someone's sperm, adopting, pills, medications, injections. There's so many different ways that people can parent. And should you still choose not to do that, it is not only okay, I applaud you, because parenthood is wonderful and exhausting and beautiful and sucky. And so I wish for all of us, I say as women, but again, as humans with uteruses and ovaries, I wish for a world where we don't feel defined by our ability to mother, because I think that definition is incredibly exhausting. It's emotional. It is suffocating. And while as the OBGYN who is a mother, I know that I am supposed to have this mantle where I say it is the most beautiful thing in the world, but the honest answer is this. It can be the most beautiful thing and it can be the most tragic thing. And so sometimes choosing not to embark on that is the most wonderful thing you can do. And we need to get to a place where we actually all believe that parenting and not parenting are both equally wonderful for completely different reasons. So I say this also to any of you who are struggling with whether or not to finish your childbearing years by using some form of permanent sterilization, whether it's removing your tubes or having your male partner have a vasectomy. It sounds funny, again, as a mother and as an OBGYN, but I have never been so happy as the day that I knew for a fact that I was never going to have another pregnancy growing in my body. And that might sound funny to some of you. Some of you might really, truly love the pregnancy and the birthing process, and I love that for you. And I actually love being with people who feel that way. But I also know that many of you feel like me, which is you didn't love it. You didn't love the process of making the pregnancy. You didn't love the process of carrying the pregnancy and the angst that it entails. And you might not have loved the birthing process, no matter which way you birthed. And that's all okay. So if you are on this journey, if you are experiencing pregnancy loss or just went through it, or pregnant, or thinking about being pregnant, or thinking about never being pregnant, or choosing to finish your pregnancy journeys by doing some form of birth control that is permanent, I'm thinking of all of you at all your different times, because it is, again, a beautiful, amazing, sucky, hellacious journey. That's what it is. Okay.